Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know what it is, your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQ. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've done this style of show. I've made this type of content, but that's how all of this stuff started. Just jumping on the mic, getting behind the camera, and talking ball, talking about what's happening in the NFL, what's happening in the college football landscape, and how those two things intersect and combined to impact the game that we play, which is fantasy football. And a little background about me for those of y'all who have not heard me talk about this. You're new to the channel, you haven't been around here for a long time. I'm no scout, I'm no former coach. I'm a guy who loves ball, just like you. I'm a regular old average Joe that loves ball. Played a little college football back in my time, years ago. And I love the game. I love football. I love sports. My boys play sports. Love the game. And more importantly, I love fantasy football. And the aspect of fantasy football that I enjoy the most is how the real game impacts the fake game that people play. How does the real game impact, transform, and change the way that we play this crazy game? So it's blending those types of things together. It's not just numbers, it's a little bit of everything. Context matters. All of those things impact the moves that we make from a fantasy football perspective, right? And whether you play fantasy football or you don't play fantasy football, I promise you this is the spot where we just talk ball. What's happening on the NFL field? What's happening in the college landscape? And how those things might continue to change the game that we love. So I appreciate you giving me a little bit of your time. If you do stick around, find the informational, actionable, and or entertaining, hit the thumbs up button, like, comment below. Let me know what you think about the topics. I plan on doing this on a more frequent basis, get this cadence down so I can do something like this a couple of times a week in conjunction with the live show that we run every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Friday. So where are we at? Where's the landscape? What are people talking about right now in the NFL and in college football that are about to come to a head real soon? Teams are pushing for playoff spots in the NFL. I mean, you start looking at the projected top draft order, and some of those teams and the clarity of those situations are becoming more clear by the day. And we'll take a look at that. But this episode in particular, I want to talk about what's happening right now in the NFL at the quarterback position, the most difficult spot to get right in the draft. The draft itself is an inexact science. All these teams, we spend first round picks, interior D line, O line, cornerback, edge rusher. 2 years are out of the league, not for long. And sometimes it's not the player's fault. Sometimes it's a product of the system, the environment, some of them, their talent. But you don't get that type of opportunity if you're not good. Sometimes the pieces just don't fit together. You need a change of scenery, and that happens throughout all facets and aspects of life. Football is no different. Football is no different. And right now, what we're seeing in the NFL are a bunch of players at a very important position, the QB spot, that are thriving in new situations. They're balling out in their second, their third, their fourth home right now. And you start looking at what's coming in 2026, the quarterback class, running back class, wide receivers, you start to figure out, what does my team need to do in order to get better? What does my team need to do in order to get better? And then you're thinking from a fantasy standpoint, how do I get ahead of that? All right, how do I make moves right now that are going to position my team to be good down the line once my favorite NFL team makes the transition, drafts that young rookie, trades for that stud? Well, let's talk about it. Because coming in to this season, it's an exercise that I love to do every year. I talk about how wrong we are, myself included, do those preseason big boards, preseason mock drafts, preseason top 10 rankings across the positions, and you get halfway through the season and it's all ripped apart. It's all awful. It looks like you didn't know what the hell you were thinking, what the hell you were doing. What were you scouting in August, in June, in July to have these guys at the top of the board? And right here, going into week 10 of the college football season, wrapping up, it looks nothing of the sorts. You know, coming in to this year, there wasn't a draft expert fantasy football analyst out there that didn't have South Carolina quarterback Lenore Sellers at the top of the board. Hell, even right now, you might pull up some mocks and he's still inside that top 10, the tools, the talent, the traits, the upside. Lenore Sellers has been awful this season. It ain't all his fault. South Carolina's been a bad team. But he in no way, shape, or form looks like the type of guy that you want to draft at the top of the draft wars. But it ain't just Lenore Sellers. Coming into the season, there wasn't a name out there in the draft community that didn't have Klubnik at the top of the board. Hell, I had him as QB2 in the class coming into the season, experienced. He's been at Clemson for a long time, dual threat quarterback. He can run, he can throw. You look up here going into week 10 and you're like, man, is this dude even worthy of a day 2 pick? But it ain't just Klubnik. Drew Aller out of Penn State as well. And I know he suffered a season-ending injury, but you know what? Before that, he was still looking like one of those Penn State quarterbacks of the past that has all the talent, that looks the part. Christian Hackenberg, remember that name? Looked the part. Second-round pick of the Jets, didn't do a damn thing in the NFL. There were points in time last year where people thought Drew Aller could be the top quarterback in the class in 2025 over Cam Ward, over Jackson Dart. That has not come to fruition this season either. And then the one that is still sort of hanging on, Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU. My QB1 coming into the season, arm talent, playing for this LSU team, SEC experience. There's no way that Garrett Nussmeier is not going to be there at the end to be one of the top quarterbacks picked. But here we are, 10 weeks in, and 4 of the sort of consensus top guys, every draft analyst, every fantasy football expert, people who study rookies, those 4 were in everybody's top 5, top 10, every single last one of them. And I don't think there's a chance in hell that Sellers, Klubnik, Aller, or maybe even Nussmeier, they're even considered for round 1 of the NFL draft. And why is that? You know, I've continued to talk about the way that the college football landscape and the game is changing right now. Transfers, quarterback doesn't get to play, I'm out. I don't get on the field early, I'm out. I'm not waiting 2-3 years. I'm not going the Ty Simpson approach. Not spending 3 years as a backup quarterback and only get 1 season to play. I think that impacts it some. You see some of the college football firings of late. James Franklin gone. Brian Kelly gone. Getting rid of coach. Deshaun Foster probably had no business being the head coach of UCLA in the first place, but he's gone after getting transferred Nico Iamaleava from Tennessee. And I've always said this, having played a little college football myself, the coach of these college football programs, their goal, it ain't to prepare them for the NFL. It's not to make these guys the number 1 overall pick or the greatest quarterback of all time in the NFL to win damn college games. It's to keep their job. It's to win a national championship, push for a college football playoff. Right? Their goals are not the same as what we think they should be going into the season when you've got some of these talented players. And this is not isolated and exclusive to the quarterback position, but that's the spot that we're talking about today. Because no matter how talented Reuben Bain Jr. is, no matter how talented Caleb Downs is at the safety position, what makes or breaks an NFL draft class is what? It's the QB. What makes or breaks a draft class is the quarterback position. That is how people feel about the strength of the class. What's the quarterbacks look like? Move on from there, edge rushers. Do we have any talented edge rushers? We got that in 2026. Offensive linemen, a little different, right? Maybe not as strong this year in the offensive line group, but by and large, we look at the quarterback position for the strength or the weakness of a draft class. And here going into 2026, it's going to be an interesting conversation. You know, you look across the NFL right now, the teams projected to pick at the top of the draft board. Here we go. Let's take a look at it. You got the New Orleans Saints currently sitting there with a record of 1-7. Got a tie with them, the Jets, and the Tennessee Titans. 1-7. The Jets and the Saints lead the way because of their strength of schedule. So Tennessee's kind of sitting at that 3rd spot right now. Saints and the Jets can both take a commanding lead this weekend and getting that number 1 overall pick. But is it going to matter? Are the caliber of prospects in this class good enough to even take at that spot? New Orleans right now just made the pivot from Spencer Rattler to Tyler Shuck. They spent the 40th overall pick on him. He's going to get some runway. He's going to get some leash. I don't know if he's going to be good or bad. He's 25, 26 damn years old. If it were me, I wouldn't have taken him at that spot, but that's why I'm sitting here talking behind the camera and not running the Saints organization. The Jets and all the stuff that's happening in New York right now, Aaron Glenn, the quarterback position, Justin Fields. Right? This is a team that you do these mocks and they're picking Fernando Mendoza right at the top of the draft because you got to find a quarterback. You can't win in the NFL without a quarterback. The days of just getting a guy to skirt by and the defense can carry you, that ain't happening. You got to be able to go out there and get it at the quarterback spot. Tennessee's there. The Cleveland Browns, everything that's going on with Cleveland, Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, they're 2-6. Problem with Cleveland is I think defensively, Defensively, after seeing Myles Garrett go for five damn sacks last week, I think they're going to be good enough defensively to probably not secure that number one overall pick. You got the Miami Dolphins led by Tua. The Giants are sitting at 2-6, but it looks like they found their franchise quarterback in Jackson Dart. The Ravens sitting at seventh, currently 2-5. At the end of the day, I don't think Baltimore is going to be picking, seventh overall. Now, defensively, they're not good, so they absolutely could be in that range. But with Lamar Jackson back on the field, I'm just not buying that Baltimore's picking seventh overall. Raiders are probably going to be picking top 10. The Cardinals, big matchup against Dallas on Monday Night Football. We'll see what happens in Arizona. But hell, Cardinals fans want Kyler Murray out of the building. Get him out of there. We don't want him anymore. I'm sick of him. Get Kyler out of there. Bengals, we know they're not taking a quarterback. The Commanders aren't taking a quarterback. The Rams at 12, interesting spot. But you know what? As long as Matthew Stafford can play, why the hell wouldn't you want him to be your signal caller of the future? Minnesota, Houston, and Dallas. There's the top 15. We'll go down to the cutoff spot. Wild card. You got Chicago and Jacksonville in there. And Jacksonville doesn't have their pick because Cleveland's got it for the Travis Hunter trade. Right? So you look at these sort of top 18 teams and where they currently stand. Of these 18 teams, how many of them have their franchise signal caller? Jacksonville paid Trevor Lawrence, so whether you like him or not, he's in place. Dallas has Dak Prescott. Houston has C.J. Stroud. We think Minnesota's got their guy. The Rams have Matthew Stafford. The Commanders, the Bengals set. Giants are set. Baltimore is set. Other than that, I don't know. Other than that, I really, really, really do not know. And that leads us to like the main talking point that I wanted to discuss today. It's these veteran quarterbacks in the NFL versus some of these potential rookies. I was watching a show on ESPN the other day. It was Joey Galloway and Andre Ware, and they were talking about the Heisman race. Desmond Howard was on there, and they were talking about how this year in particular, like nobody has stood out in college football. Nobody in the college football landscape has stood out and really, really taken the college season, bull by its horns, for lack of a better term and words. Nobody's had that standout moment. Nobody's playing like they are truly head and shoulders the best damn player in college football. Nobody. They put this graphic up on the screen, and it wasn't this one. These are Heisman Trophy odds brought to you and presented by DraftKings. Right, this is on DraftKings website. These are the Heisman Trophy odds right now. Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana, leading the way, plus 260, win the Heisman. Ty Simpson, Alabama quarterback, plus 360. Then you got Julian Sayin out of Ohio State. He's not even eligible for 26 class. And you think about Ohio State, the first name that comes up is Jeremiah Smith, not Julian Sayin. But he is playing turnover, mistake-free football. Marcel Reed, big-time win for Texas A&M over LSU. He's up to fourth, and people are talking about him. You got Diego Pavia out of Vanderbilt, Gunnar Stockton out of Georgia, Jeremiah Love, Trinidad Chambliss, C.J. Carr, Haynes King, Jeremiah Smith down there, plus 4,000. Dante Moore out of Oregon, plus 5,000. Carson Beck, plus 6,500. You just look at these names, right? Diego Pavia, there's no shade and no disrespect to any of these guys, but I don't believe that's an NFL quarterback. Marcel Reed, fun, awesome collegiate quarterback doing big things at Texas A&M down in College Station. I don't believe Marcel Reed is the type of quarterback that you win in the NFL with. Haynes King, gritty, tough, rugged, veteran, leader. Hell, he was at Texas A&M before going to Georgia Tech, doing a great job leading that squad. I'm not banking on him doing a damn thing in the NFL. Trinidad Chambliss, C.J. Carr, maybe down the line. I think both of those players are really good. Then you get to Dante Moore and Carson Beck, who are eligible for 2026, but you look at the class and you hear people talk about the top players in college. Like, if Fernando Mendoza is the prize of the 2026 class, and I'm not dogging him out, but it just feels a little underwhelming, right? If that is the prize of the 2026 class, if you're thinking about from a fantasy perspective, man, that's the quarterback. Think about what Cam Ward is doing right now. You're talking about a pocket passer, doesn't run around. You got to be out there throwing for 4,000 yards, 35 plus touchdowns a season to really be in the mix of somebody that's not going to run around. It's not going to give you any rushing production, score rushing touchdowns to be a true fantasy difference maker at the quarterback position. You better be Kirk Cousins of the pass, right? 44 and 39, 42 and 35. And then you sneak in a couple of rushing touchdowns here and there. But this is what we're working with right now going into week 10. This is what we're working with right now going into week 10 with the teams. And I'm telling you, you look at the top, right? Tennessee, they're not going to take one. New Orleans, Jets, the Browns, the Dolphins. That's at the top of the class. My big question to you and everybody out there listening to this on replay, if you're not watching on YouTube, go to YouTube channel, subscribe. If you're not, if you're listening to it, go to YouTube and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, get the pod feed where other content drops. But the real question is, are we sure we want to do this and play this game, right? Are these rookies better than these veteran quarterbacks right now? Are these potential rookies better than these veteran quarterbacks right now? Are they better than Daniel Jones? Are they better than Sam Darnold? Are they better than Mac Jones? Are they better than Aaron Rodgers? And here's the thing. All four of those names that I just rattled off, nobody wants them. Nobody wants Daniel Jones. Not a soul. Nobody really wants Daniel Jones. He's not that good. It's not going to sustain. It's not going to continue. It's not going to last. We don't really want Daniel Jones. Like Tua, man, I'm sure Dolphins fans can't wait to get Tua out of the building. Can't wait. He's no good. The bum. Get rid of him. I did that mock last week. I didn't want to give the Miami Dolphins a quarterback because it felt way too damn high to take somebody like Dante Moore right now. Felt way too high to even be pegging somebody like Dante Moore in right now. Daniel Jones, right now on the season, let's look in on Daniel Jones on the season. 4th in the NFL in yards, 13 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, and number 2 in the NFL in QBR. And I get it, right? It did not end well in New York for Daniel Jones. They pretty much ran him out of town. We don't even want you here, dude. Goodbye. Detriment to the team. Goes to Minnesota. He plays that backup role to Sam Darnold. Surprise, surprise. He gets this spot. And hell, even me coming in this season, I don't know. Daniel Jones leading the coach. You see how bad he's been his entire career? Give Anthony Richardson some time. Let those tools, that talent, those traits shine. Daniel Jones is playing like a damn MVP. Now, I don't think he's going to win it, right? He's in the mix, though. He's damn sure in the mix. And yes, having Jonathan Taylor play the way that he's playing absolutely helps. I'm not naive and foolish enough to just make it seem like it's all Daniel Jones carrying this Indianapolis Colts team by himself. But he's playing good football, and he's a retread quarterback. He's a retread quarterback on his 3rd team. Let's not forget, this was the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft at one point out of Duke, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron freaking Rodgers, 40 years old. 40 years old, and he's the best damn quarterback Pittsburgh has had since Ben Roethlisberger. There are reports right now, they already are talking about, hey, Aaron, we want you back in 2026. All right, we want you back helping lead this team in 2026. And I know there's a lot of quarterback and a lot of football left to be played, but that just tells you the landscape of the veteran quarterback. Mac Jones, everyone hates him. Everybody hates him. New England Patriots, he made a damn Pro Bowl as a rookie. Say what you want about the Pro Bowl. Go look at the numbers. Mac Jones had one of the best rookie quarterback seasons in NFL history. Yes, I am not making that up. That is not hyperbole. I ain't exaggerating. He had one of the best statistical performances from a rookie quarterback in NFL history. This is a dude right now. You go back and you look at Mac Jones's numbers. His first season as a starting quarterback at Alabama, 2020. First season, 2020-21. Go back and look at his numbers. 4,500 touchdowns. Damn near 78% completion percentage. 45 touchdowns, 4 interceptions from Mac Jones. Absolutely destroyed college football that season. Broke Joe Burrow's completion percentage record. Absolute heater, Mac Jones. Didn't work out in New England. Bill Belichick, neither here nor there. Another topic for another day. I think a lot of the success of the New England Patriots, I want to give Bill his credit, one of the best coaches in NFL history. But having Tom Brady, having the type of coordinators that he had, and then you see what he's done since then, I'm going to leave it at that. Goes to Jacksonville as a backup, does well whenever his name is called. And for the most part, Mac Jones has been the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers for the entirety of the season with Brock Purdy being injured. And this year, Mac Jones, 1,500 yards passing, 18th in the NFL, 16th in QBR, 8 touchdowns. I'm not saying this is a banner year. I'm not saying this is the type of year that should land Mac Jones a guaranteed $100 million starting contract in the NFL, but he's 27 years old. He's 27 years old still. It's not just Mac. It's not just Mac. Sam Darnold. We're talking about names of quarterbacks that people despise. Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold. Nobody wants these guys, right? Fantasy football, nobody wants them. Real life, nobody really wants to bank on these players and what they could be long term, short term. Nobody. Just pull up Darnold's numbers. Let's just look at what maybe I'm tripping. 7th in the NFL in QBR, 10th in passing yards, 12 touchdowns, and he's leading the team right now as balling. Balling. They look so much better with Sam Darnold at the helm right now than they did with Geno Smith. Again, does it continue? We'll see. But he looks great. Miami. Now we're getting into the teams that are picking at the top. There's Rodgers, they're vying for a playoff spot. San Francisco, they're in the playoff hunt. Indianapolis, they're 7-1 on the season right now. They're 7-1 on the season. Mac Jones and the Niners, they're vying for a playoff spot right now. Let's talk about some teams that are not. Miami Dolphins and Tua. We saw him have arguably his best game in a very long time. 4 touchdown passes versus Atlanta. Tua got it done. No Tyreek Hill. Mike McDaniel, maybe in, maybe out. We don't know what's going on with that. Defensively, the Dolphins can't stop anybody. One of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. But it all starts and stops with number one, the quarterback. It all starts and stops with Tua, who is not having a banner year. Not up here sitting here saying that Tua's out here balling out and he's having a Pro Bowl caliber, MVP caliber season. No, it's been a disappointing year for Tua. It's been a disappointing year for the Dolphins. They are in a tough division. 21st in passing yards for Tua, 15 touchdowns, tied for 6th, 10 interceptions. Not good. One of the worst in the NFL and 23rd in QBR. But let's not act like we haven't seen Tua be good. Let's not act like we have not seen Tua throw for 4,629 touchdowns. Did that in 2023. The year before that, in 2022, 3,525 touchdowns and 8 interceptions for Tua. So we've seen him play football and play football well. When he played a full 17 games, he was right there as a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback when he played a full 17. And I know the concussion history and all the other ancillary things make it very difficult to trust him long term, but we're just talking about playing the position. We're just talking about playing the position, and the most hated yet celebrated to a degree, Justin Fields. Justin Fields now on his 3rd team. Started out in Chicago, didn't get it done. Didn't work out with Nagy. Eberflus didn't work out. Got to get him out of there. Goes to Pittsburgh, spends a year there, plays a little bit. He was okay, but he lands his 2-year deal here in New York. Justin Fields went 2 weeks in a row where he's just getting sacked 8, 9 times, can't complete a pass, can't hit the broadside of the barn. The owner comes out and says it's tough to win when your quarterback can't complete a damn pass. All Justin Fields' fault. This past week, comeback victory to lead the Jets to their first win of the season over the Bengals on the road. He's yet to throw an interception on the season, been sacked 1 trillion times. But you got Justin Fields. So we go through these veteran quarterbacks. And then we get to the young guys, right? The potential guys who are going to be in the 2026 NFL draft. Fernando Mendoza. Everybody's projected now number 1 overall pick. Remember that tankathon? We saw New Orleans at the top, Jets at the top. Fernando Mendoza, the projected number 1 overall pick today. I think that's safe to say that. Some of you watching may be like, I'm not really feeling it, or Not my number one, but by and large, most draft experts have the Indiana quarterback as the number one overall pick candidate. It's his first year in Indiana. Before that, he was at Cal. Pretty good season last year. Cal's not a good squad, so if you don't watch a lot of college football, Cal is not what we consider a premier powerhouse squad. Sub 70% completion percentage at Cal, 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns. This year at Indiana, he's going to have a banner year. He's going to have a career year at Indiana. He's already at 2,000, right under 2,000 yards, 73% completion percentage. He's already got a career high in touchdowns, and he's only turned the ball over 3 times. Fourth in college football in QBR, which of all the collegiate stats, while it's not the most groundbreaking one, there's some decent correlation to QBR and NFL success at the QB position. You look at Mendoza, he's not what you would consider a rushing quarterback. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns, 200 rushing yards. He can move a little bit, but this isn't the type of guy at the next level that you want toting the rock. Right? You're not getting dual threat mobility and stuff out of Mendoza. It's probably not going to happen. We got Fernando Mendoza sitting at the top of that. And then right behind him, I think most people have now elevated Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson in that same mold, right? Whether he's number one, number two, I think a lot of people have moved Ty Simpson up ahead of the 4 quarterbacks that we highlighted at the start of this: the Sellers, the Allers, Klubnik, Nussmeier. You got Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is somebody that I've liked for a while. He's been at Alabama for quite some time. He had to buy his time at Alabama. Waited out. Had to wait it out. This is his 4th year at Alabama. His 4th year. His first year in 2022. Matter of fact, let me pull it up so you can see it. We're going to walk through it together. First year in 2022, he threw the ball 5 times. Then after that, 2023, 2020. He was damn near there when Devontae Smith was there. Wrecking college football. This season in 2025, he won it. He won the job. He got the job. 67% completion percentage, 2,100 yards, 20 touchdowns, 1 pick, 51 carries, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Ty Simpson. He is not a dual threat quarterback, 6'2", 208 pounds, which means we get to the draft, he's probably like 6'1", 210. That's Ty Simpson. We'll give him 6'2", 6'2", 208. Size, I mean, it's not Mendoza who's standing, 6'4", 215, 220 pounds. But you watch him, 14th in QBR in the country, 20 touchdowns, 1 pick. He looks good. He can make all the throws. He's operating this offense. He's getting more and more comfortable in this offense. My personal stance on Ty Simpson this season is this is a player who's not going to declare. My personal stance on Ty Simpson is this is a player who's not going to declare yet. All right. He still can play another season of college football. He's a junior. But having only started a grand total of 9 games, 9 games in his college career, we talk about veteran leadership and having seen some things. He just hasn't seen a lot, hadn't done a lot, haven't experienced a lot. So that's why for me, Ty Simpson and Dante Moore, who a lot of people, 6'3", 206-pound sophomore, started his career out at UCLA before transferring to Oregon. And you see at UCLA, he had a little bit of a run as a true freshman, but I don't, sacked 25 times on 213 attempts, 53% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, 9 picks. Last year, I had to sit behind Dylan Gabriel, and this year, he's the guy. 71% completion percentage, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 30th in QBR for Dante Moore. But for me, I've maintained the entire draft process that those 2 players, Dante Moore and Ty Simpson in particular, I'm not factoring them in yet. We may not have a choice but to put them inside this 2026 class, but 1 year of starter experience, 1 season of starter experience, I don't know. Some other names of players that we thought would be a lot higher up at this point in time of the season. John Mateer out of Oklahoma. I know he suffered the thumb injury that kind of knocked him out transfer from Washington State. I was high on him. I'm like, man, this might be QB2 in the class. And you sit up here today and you're like, I don't know. Damn sure not a first round pick. Damn sure not a first round pick. Talked about it earlier. Marcel Reed, people loving what he's doing at Texas A&M. Great college quarterback, leading arguably the best team in the country right now. They got a shot to win it. Marcel Reed doing his damn thing, but I'm not factoring him in to the 2026 NFL draft class. Carson Beck out of Miami. And this was a guy, when he was at Georgia, this was going to be another top pick, right? And once Stetson Bennett's out of the way, let's get Carson Beck going. Follow along that lineage of quarterbacks, right? Matthew Stafford back in the gap. Carson Beck, could he be that guy? Justin Fields was also at Georgia at one point in time before going to Ohio State, but different story for a different day. But he's at Miami now, following up Cam Ward. Cristobal went out, paid this money. You're supposed to have your guy. And everybody was ready to sort of coordinate him as, hey, Cam Ward did it last year. Why not Carson Beck? Well, you see why when you watch the tape. You see why when you watch Miami play. That's why. That's why not Carson Beck. So the question goes back to the top of the show. Are we sure these 2026 rookies are better than these guys? And I know you'll say that we're not sure about anything, right? No one's sure about anything. The draft itself is an inexact science. Nobody's sure about anything. Daniel Jones is going to get re-signed. Daniel Jones is going to get extended. He's going to be paid. He's going to be the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. I believe that. Aaron Rodgers, as long as he wants to play football, he's probably going to have a job. As long as Rodgers wants to play the quarterback position, he's probably going to have a job. I know it feels like retread, no way. Mac Jones, I know the 49ers have his contract. Like they've got that under wraps for a couple of years, so they'd have to be willing to make that move. Sam Darnold, again, on his fourth team, Jets, the Panthers, the Vikings, the Seahawks, journeyman quarterbacks right now leading the way. What is that? It's experience. It's having seen it. Like this dude was a top pick in the draft. So it has nothing to do with his talent and his ability to throw the football, the arm strength, the processing ability. Like, does this piece fit this puzzle? And I think a lot of times, I've got some friends that play in the NFL, and I know some people that have talked about some things in the coaching room on the team. Like, this just doesn't fit. The things that I like to do, this offensive coordinator, they got an ego too. We're going to run this offense my way, and you're going to do it like this. I think when you get these veterans, like a Darnold, Baker Mayfield, another guy who had to make multiple stops. Number 1 overall pick, Cleveland, Carolina, LA, Tampa Bay. There's something to this. There's something to this. And right now in fantasy football in particular, those leagues where you got to start multiple quarterbacks, we're always searching for the next best thing. Give me Penix over Daniel Jones. Give me Caleb Williams over these quarterbacks. And while the present day value, and I use air quotes on that because I personally just think value is bullshit. I think in fantasy football, value is relevant to the day of the week. What are you producing right now, and how do other people feel about you? That's what value is. But especially those of us that play in these leagues where you've got multiple quarterbacks, where you're starting multiple quarterbacks, I think, in my opinion, I get it, right? The team of the New York, if you're a fan of the Jets, you're a fan of the Saints, you're looking at that roster and you're thinking there's nothing that we can do if we don't have a quarterback. We will never win without that guy, so you just keep drafting until you find him. But do you do that? Remember in 2022 when it didn't feel like there was a quarterback and we were pumping up Matt Corral, Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, Carson Strong, Kenny Pickett, the lone first-round quarterback? How'd that work out? Right? They're still searching. I believe you still have to be that type of talent. Yes, some guys hit the league and you're like, man, I didn't think they'd be that good. And they're much better. But by and large, like these veteran quarterbacks that are producing right now in the NFL, and I think there are some other ones. I'm not saying it's going to be Fields. I'm not, but this idea and this notion that in 2026, these teams we're going to see full sweeping changes. 12 teams replace their quarterback, maybe, but I guarantee you, of the 12 teams replacing those 12 quarterbacks, 8 of them that switch teams will be starters for those teams. There's something to it, right? So as we progress and we move into draft season, where we start to talk about more names, I will leave you with this. I'm watching Paul Feinbaum on ESPN. Shit, had been about a month ago. Once people realized that Arch Manning wasn't going to be the guy, right? Arch is another one. He was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick to Cleveland. Every damn mock draft, Arch Manning. That was the 5th guy. It was Sellers, it was Klubnik, it was Nussmeier, and then Arch Manning. Drew Aller, Arch Manning was number 1. I'm listening to him say the only reason I had him there is because everybody else was talking about him. Because everybody else was pumping him up. I didn't go to Austin. I didn't watch a practice in the spring. I didn't watch a practice in fall camp. Just everybody else was. Be mindful of the content you consume, right? Just because the thing is on sale doesn't mean you should buy it. Just because it's listed for a discount doesn't mean you need to have it. And when I'm looking at the quarterback class right now, it's just uninspiring. I haven't been this uninspired about a draft class in a while, especially the quarterback spot. When the best thing or one of the best things smoking is a quarterback that's played 8 games of collegiate football in 4 years, like, how good do you feel about that? How much of that do you want to bank on for your rosters, for your team? Whatever the case may be. And that doesn't mean that every one of them are going to be bad, but look at this year. We had Cam Ward. And Cam Ward's got all the talent in the world, but that situation is a dump, right? Is he going to get enough leash and leeway to make it happen? Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert, Josh Rosen, the list of quarterback names, Christian Ponder, EJ Manuel, that are selected and flame out, it's endless. It's not respective and isolated to this year or last year or we're dogging out a class. It happens. It's an inexact science. It's an inexact science, and sometimes those puzzle pieces don't belong in that kit. They fit in another kit. The Daniel Jones puzzle piece didn't fit with Brian Daboll and the Giants, but it's fitting right now with Shane Steichen and the Colts. And I think it's something that we need not gloss over. And the name may not be sexy. The name may not be attractive. Could be something that's been stepped on a couple of times, but the product is still good. I'm not sure that damn Ty Simpson is better than Mac Jones. I'm not. How quickly we forget how good he was coming out. I'm not sure that Dante Moore, as much hype and hope that you have, him throwing the ball in the Pacific Northwest inside of the Big Ten, is better than Sam Darnold, at least right now. And that doesn't mean your team shouldn't take him. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be a little bit excited for it. But I promise you this. We will talk about this come February. We'll talk about it come free agency in March. There are going to be a lot of these retread quarterbacks landing spots on teams that we're hoping that rookies hit right now. So how do you act in Dynasty? Hey, if you can grab a couple of these guys as throw-ins towards the end of the season, once we get the rookie hype season as full swing, maybe that's a play you should take. Maybe that's a play you should make. Maybe that's a decision that you should take, but it's damn sure something that I'm thinking about, and I hope you're thinking about it as well. This is what I want to do. I want to talk about the real game. I want to talk about the fake game and how the real game impacts and influences the game of fantasy football and vice versa. So that's the show for today. Really wanted to get that off, talk through some of those topics about the quarterbacks, talk about the teams picking at the top of the draft, and talk about the thing that strengthens or weakens a draft class, which is the quarterback position. Big weekend in college football, big weekend in the NFL. If you're new to the channel, and again, you stuck around to the end of the video and you found the information actionable and or entertaining, I'm coming at you live twice a week starting right now. Subscribe to the podcast feed, hit the thumbs up button, comment below. Let me know what you think, the rookie or the vet here at the quarterback position for 2026. Much love. I appreciate you pulling up, giving me a little bit of your time. Until next time, man, I'm out. Peace.